Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. It is my pleasure to be with you today. My name is Sally Wantz. I'm also joined today by trusty guy on the sound, which is Ray Plummery. I've got, who's behind the camera today? Oh yeah, Jay Gutler's behind the camera. Got Catherine Hemmons over here, who will be doing our chalice lighting and the joys and concerns. And of course, we're joined today by Reverend Dr. Ruth Miller, who returns to us once again with a special message titled, The Soul's Longing. Gonna be good. So let's start with Spirit of Life. It's a song we sing all the time, every time we start service. If you have a hymnal, it's number 123, or just enjoy it. I'm going to invite Catherine and Ruth to come on up if they want to, and we're going to sing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the streams of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you both. Jay, were you back there singing into the camera?
He was.
Or just mouthing the words? So we have a few announcements, so if you bear with me for a moment. So today is September 13th. We will be meeting a gathering, weather permitted, okay? So let's just take a look at what's going on outside. But we will be gathering here at noon for another gathering, so bring your chair, bring a snack, and bring your joyful self to Foof at noon today. Mark Levy is starting a program called The Healing Power of Humor. It's a Zoom class, and it's going to address the need for humor as a survival skill. Classes start at 2 p.m. on October 6, 13, 20, and 27. Now, the free lunch program, many of you know that this was a program that Big Don Madison was so involved in. He would make food. Many of you, I know Paula was there making food. I can't think of everybody else who volunteered. Little Don, of course. But right now, they're in need of volunteers to help on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just from 10:45 to 12:15. If you can help out, and all you need to do is just show up at United Methodist Church. There's a container with vouchers, shall we say, and if somebody comes to the door, you hand them a voucher for a free meal at Subway. And Little Don would love your help. You can call him and let him know you're willing to help him out. His number is 999-8410. That would be Don Gardner. He would desperately need your help to ensure this program continues.
And what is that time again, Sally?
10:45 to 12:15, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Call Don Gardner. Deborah Larson will be offering an animal blessing for an upcoming Sunday service. She did this several years ago to great success. So if you want your favorite pets included, send her a photo or 2 or 3 and perhaps a caption. Send it to deborahlarson9@gmail.com. The deadline is September 20th to get into that program. And it's in the e-blast, her email, so you can look at that. Excuse me, next Sunday, the 20th, we have Reverend Donna Smith with us, and she's from the Sutherland Roseburg UU Church. And it'll be a fun experience, I'm sure, to have her message. I don't think we've met Donna before, so this will be delightful. And finally, Foof is buying a wonderful air purifier for our space. So the groups who meet here will actually just turn this little puppy on, exit the building, and it will purify the air after each encounter in the space. But we get a discount if we can buy 4 or more. And already we're selling 3. I've purchased one, I'll get one. Deb, Jordan's going to get one, Foof will get one. If there's one more person, let me know, and we will get $50 off each purchase, okay? So if I don't hear back from you, we'll just do what we need to do, but we're going to get the air purifier going here at Foof. So are there any other announcements that anybody in this place has to share? No? Okay. So at this time, I'm going to invite Catherine to come forward to share our chalice lighting words and then joys and concerns.
Good morning, everyone. As Sally lights the flame of our chalice, I offer the following words from Eric Heller Wagner, titled, "Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul." Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community. I like that. The fire of justice and the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart. The divine glow in every life. I'm going to move on to joys and concerns, and we do this for all these reasons here. You know, the fire that burns in our hearts for our community and for the world. It keeps us connected. It strengthens that connection even when we're not sitting in this room that we all of us really miss, but for right now, this is what it is. I'm going to start with a couple just personal ones. You know Janet Vincent. She is a member, a new member actually. She had to move for COVID reasons to Roseburg. But she is having a very difficult time right now, and keep her in your mind and your heart. She's hunkering down because of COVID, doesn't want to move again yet, but she misses us very much.
Can I drop a shot?
And Sally will drop a shot for us. Melody Ennis is someone in the larger community. She's been here a few times. I know her from Toastmasters, so a few of us have been there, know her. Several members of her family have lost their homes in the fire. She can't locate her one adult son. She feels he's okay, but she can't locate him. And I just want, her name is Melody Ennis, and you may know her from the larger community, but I want you to keep her in your mind and heart. I talked to her, spoke to her yesterday. She was very distressed, and rightfully so. One more. And we're going to have a whole handful here for these fires.
Okay.
What is this about? Maybe Dr. Ruth will lend us some knowledge around this. My feelings are that, yes, some are seeing them as cleansing, but the tragedy that's involved in this cleansing is so beyond anything I can think of. I watch the pictures because I want to witness it. I want to be there for these people and have them in my heart, but at the same time, it's breaking my heart. So let's put a whole bunch of, yes, shells in there. And a final shell for anyone out there that is definitely feeling the collective consciousness making them want to like go under the covers, you know, and not get out of bed in the morning. And we know sometimes it's really difficult to reach out when one is in that state. But we love you. We definitely love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ray to begin a musical selection. This is a song you will recognize by Cat Stevens and performed by our own Jeff Lovejoy. morning has broken. Hopefully we'll fit where we are with the sun not blocked by smoke. So Ray, let's get that started and sit back and enjoy. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
One of my
Yes.
favorite songs.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh my goodness, Jeff, you always do such a beautiful job.
That's good music. Good music.
Yes, indeed. Oh my. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you all for continuing to do this. Oh wow. I know it's not easy.
And thank you for being here.
I'm so glad I could. Yesterday I was in Raining Ash in Corvallis and Salem.
Oh.
And when I got to Toledo, the air started getting clear. And I was going, oh my goodness, I can see more than a block or two. That is amazing. What an amazing time. You know, back in the 70s when I was doing my futures practice, we did a series of scenarios for how the world might change. And our hope was that everyone's consciousness would get raised so that we could become harmonious with each other and the planet. And that was in the 70s. Yeah, and we've had bits and pieces since then. We've had brief moments of it, and it's been gorgeous when that's happened. But it's not been our norm. And one of the scenarios we wrote was the apocalyptic transformation. And it was the one I didn't want. It was the one my soul definitely did not long for. But I think that's what we're getting to experience. And apocalypse is an interesting word because it means lifting the veil. Lifting the veil, seeing beyond the veil. And it's not easy when we've been attached to what has been and unwilling to shift and change and see what is in front of us and see what is coming. It's not always easy. You know, we're filming this on 9/11. I wasn't aware of that when we scheduled it. You know, in my head, it's the Friday before the second Sunday. I don't even care what the numbers are. But last night at midnight, I watched it go from 10 to 11, and it said that. And I went, oh my, look at that. 9/11. And this morning as I'm driving down the coast, I'm seeing the flags. And I was, you know what I was wondering? I was wondering if we could have those same flags up for helping each other after the fires.
Wow.
Yeah, pulling together to help each other. You know, we were the only part of the country that hadn't been hit by a disaster. The Pacific Northwest hadn't been hit in over a year. Everybody else was dealing with floods and fires and that huge wind that did all those nasty things in Iowa. And we had this freak wind. We never have a northeaster in Oregon at this time of year. It happens in the winter with the rain and the snow. It's cold air coming down the gorge. And it happened. And it brought all of that hot, dusty, ashy air, and that blew into all the little fires and made them big fires. And then I heard, I'm calling it the Great Labor Day Storm Smoke Wind. We can drop storm. Okay, the Great Labor Day Smoke Wind. Because what it did is it caused a whole bunch of fires. On my, you know, I heard 12 trees going down around me in the valley that I live in, and then it, you know, no power, of course, long, you know, well into it, and then in the morning, some of those trees hit power lines and knocked out, you know, more and created fires. So the wind not only, you know, expanded what was already there, it actually created new fires. Some very freak event. That's terrifying when you think about it. It's clearly a function of the shift in climate patterns and where the air currents are and where the cold water is and the warm water is and all of that. Snow in the Rockies in September is not impossible. People remember going to football games when it's 90 and then the next day having snow in Denver. I mean, that's not impossible. But this, what we've just had, is virtually impossible under any previous conditions. What is it that has brought us to this? It's always going to be some combination of beliefs and expectations, unfortunately, and needs and longings, along with our dynamic, our interaction with the planet, the natural processes. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins says that the mind, whether it be humanity's total mind or the individual mind, is responsible for natural processes. The mind is the will that we hold in our thoughts, the way we hold our thoughts, the way we expect things to be, is how our body is showing up. Now, psychoneuroimmunology has been demonstrating this over and over. It's not what our doctors told us, and when they said it was all on our heads, they didn't know what they meant. So, if I don't have an image of myself as healed and whole, there is no way I can be healed and whole. All right? Now, part of me wants to hold on to whatever the image was of who I was. But that part of it is not my soul. That part of me is what the Course in Miracles calls the ego. I call it the small self, the ego mind. In old New Thought, they called it the Adam mind. There was the Adam being and the Christ being. The being that has grown up in the culture, that has been trained by the culture to think and act in terms of material stuff, and in our culture, to think and act in terms of taking it and keeping it. It's mine. You don't get it. That's not normal in other cultures, thank heavens. And that's, I'm hoping, not going to be normal in the emerging culture that is coming after what we are experiencing now. But when we're in that place, we don't even begin to get a sense for who and what we really are and what we're really longing for. All we're thinking of is, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, I gotta have this. Emma, in her book Esoteric Philosophy, which I rewrote as the science, the spiritual science of Emma Curtis Hopkins, she calls it the hungry caterpillar phase. The hungry caterpillar is constantly gnawing, constantly taking, constantly trying to get more and more and more. We're always hungry for more. And she reminds us that we're hungry for more stuff because we think the stuff is going to satisfy us until we realize, oh my goodness, I got a lot of stuff and I'm still not satisfied. There must be something else. There's a wonderful scene in the movie Same Time Next Year. I love that movie, Alan Alda and Ellen Burstyn. And there's this point where she's sitting there and she says, you know, I've got this great husband, I've got fabulous children, I live in a really comfortable home, I even have a new dinette set. How come I'm not satisfied? And that's kind of what it's like, you know? We have it, and we have it, and we have more, and we have more, and we think, well, if I just finish this little piece, I'll be satisfied. If I just had that little bit more, I'd be satisfied. When what is true is everything out there cannot fully satisfy. That's the first noble truth in Buddhism. No thing ever fully satisfies. Why? Because things are not what we are. How can things satisfy an infinite being? Mind, whether you see it as spiritually part of this oneness that is all that is, or whether you see it as, you know, a physical thing that is actually extending. Our thoughts go on forever and ever and ever. So our mind is energy and information. It's informed energy that is infinite. How could it possibly be satisfied with something finite, whatever it is, however lovely it is? This was a gift from my daughter. You know, these things, they're wonderful in the moment, but they cannot fully satisfy. And this is because our infinite being will only be satisfied with infinity, with limitless beingness. However, we've made a commitment to show up on this planet. We got born. And that's a commitment. It's a bigger commitment than marriage. And in that being born thing, we came with gifts and abilities and capacities. And those need to be fulfilled. And there is a way in which our soul, if you will, that part of us that remembers why we came, why we allowed ourselves to be born, that remembers who and what we really are, is constantly saying, hey, here's an opportunity to do what you came here to do. That doesn't work anymore. We're filming today on 9/11, as I said. 9/11, September 11, a day that will live in our generation's minds as long as we're here. And I look at this day and I think about those first 48 hours when we all thought it was so hopeful. We all thought it was an opportunity for the world to come together, except for the part of us that was terrified. It was both. We were in terror and potential, terror and potential. I was living in Portland, and there's an Air National Guard in Portland, and I would hear those planes in the sky, and they were the only planes in the sky. And I gotta tell you, when the only plane in the sky is military, it's scary. But then there was this possibility, and the whole world was going, oh my goodness, we love you. Let us work together. And of course we didn't. We turned it into more, we're out here to do something terrible to the people who did something terrible to us. And I went, wait a minute. You're not even doing it to the people who did it to you. It was all confusing after that. And then it was frustrating. And then people started getting all in their anger, and the fear and the anger became the dominant thing. And I'm going, whoa, it doesn't have to be like this. And what I was aware of was that this was an opportunity for all of us to get in touch with who and what we really are. And a woman called me and she said, "Where was God on 9/11?" And I said, "Hon, I've been in those buildings. And when I was in those buildings, there were 150,000 people in those buildings. From the subway station and the shopping mall underneath, all the way up to the top story with the restaurant where I have had dinner. And do you know that on that morning there were fewer than 50,000 people in those buildings? And of those fewer than 50,000 people, fewer than 3,000 people lost their lives. I know where God was that day. God was in the soul of every single being, saying, you have an opportunity here. You can move in this direction, or you can follow the old pattern. Those who chose to follow the old pattern are the ones who didn't make it through that day. But there's another thing that they did. Some of them chose to be a living model to wake us up, to say, hey, what you are doing is not working. Pay attention. And then there were the guys on the plane that didn't end up causing destruction. God was working in those guys. God was saying, you were born to save your planet. And they did. They saved the planet. They sacrificed their physical lives. But they saved many, many, many thousands more. Wow. God is not always a physical presence or even an awareness of what we're doing, but it's always, whatever we call God, is the inspiration to fulfill our soul's longing, our inspiration to be the gift that we are on the planet. This freaky thing that's happening in Oregon and in Washington right now, and basically the whole West Coast, we're dealing with fire up and down the West Coast. And as Catherine said, cleansing is a huge part of it. I had that realization when I was dealing with the smoke the morning after the storm wind, the great storm wind. I had ash all over everything in my little house. And after the power finally came on, which I guess was the second or third day, I finally was able to clean. And I was realizing, I remember this experience of being in this almost can't breathe smoky air. I've been in sweat lodge kinds of situations where that smoke is filling the air. I've had people smudge me. I've stood next to campfires and allowed that smoke to cleanse me. And I realized that's part of what's going on. If we can allow this to be a cleansing. And I thought of fire pujas and all the ways that we have used fire to help us to release what no longer serves us. Yes, we love it. Yes, we wish we could always have it, but it doesn't serve us anymore to be living that way if we are to fulfill our soul's longing. Not necessarily what our apparent desires are, which we often call our heart's desires. I had to learn this the hard way years and years ago when my body gave out, because I kept doing what I thought was supposed to be what I was supposed to want to do. Yeah, lots of shoulds and supposed to be's in there. And I learned in that time, as some of you know, the 5 toxic words. They are very toxic. Should, ought, gotta, have to, and must. If I'm living from those, the body deteriorates or I get into an accident. As soon as I am realizing, wait a minute, you can't go there. What is the soul's longing here? Not what I have convinced myself I want. Not what I'm in the habit of choosing. Not what even tastes good. Yet sometimes a hot fudge sundae sounds really, really good.
Yes.
And there are times when that is part of the soul's longing, because what the soul is saying, allow yourself to be fully satisfied in this moment. Always. The Course in Miracles has a lesson, number 101, that's easy for us to remember. We all live on 101. And it is, God's will for you is your perfect happiness. That's really our soul's longing, our perfect happiness. And when the founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they said there were inalienable rights, life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what they meant. The pursuit of our fulfillment, the pursuit of that which fulfills our soul's longing is an inalienable right. And it's one that we voluntarily give up over and over and over again. And I am convinced if we can allow ourselves to get in touch with what our true gifts are, where our heart really is most fully satisfied, what the possibilities are for harmony and peace in a moment, and in another moment, and in another moment. If we can do that, then we will begin to fulfill our true soul's longing. Thank you all for all the ways you work that. I hope that you can live it fully as we move through this final stage in the ending of the culture we have been living in and begin to create the culture we choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Great reminder. It's a good reminder for me personally as I move from my place of working for so many years and into full retirement and now into running for city council. I mean, it's taking me in all these different directions, and I have to keep in mind my soul's longing for doing this. What is that? And there is something there that is pushing me, pulling me towards that direction. So thank you for that and helping me get grounded in that fact as well. Thank you. So, for so many years, and this goes back to Betty Edgerton, if you're listening right now, God bless you, you challenged us years ago to open up our pocketbooks and give, give, give. You challenged us to stop thinking small when it comes to our community partners, and you challenged us to raise money for our community partners, the likes of which we'd never done before. And before you knew it, and before the pandemic, we were raising close to $1,000 or more every single month to give to our community partners. So I ask you to keep that in mind as you consider what your contribution might be to our community partner this month and next, which is the organization called Food Backpacks for Kids. Organization that's been around for a while now. They've got a van, they got some money and they bought a van, so now they're taking food out into the community to the kids to where they are, because the kids can't come to school. And they need our support, and we've agreed to help them as well. So I ask that you think about Betty's challenge years ago to give more than you think you can to Food Backpacks for Kids. As well, keep this particular fellowship in mind so we can continue to offer what we're offering and more going forward. You can mail your contributions to both the organization and FOOF. You can mail it to us at our P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439. or you can go onto our website and hit that PayPal button, and I think you can charge it to your own credit card. No fee to you. The organization will absorb that fee. So I ask that you consider that contribution both to food backpacks for kids as well as FOOF. And as we move forward with this offertory, I ask that you repeat after me here in person and at home. Divine love through me.
Divine love through me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
All that I give.
All that I give.
And all that I receive.
And all that I receive.
I am prosperous now. Blessed be.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be. Thank you. Thank you. So this time I invite, I don't know if you at home lit a chalice when we started the service today, but if you did, you can now extinguish that chalice, and I ask Catherine to come forward to extinguish ours. This reading comes from Robin Gray. The flame in our chalice is extinguished, but not our hope for the future, our courage in the face of crisis, or the love we share in all the world. Blessed be. Ray, I think it's time we play the peace song. And we're going to play Jeff's version of the peace song. I invite both Reverend Miller and Catherine Hemmons to come back up. And we're going to sing the peace song as we go off into the day, shall we say. You ready? Peace song. Yay!